What happens when you take Wolverine, Batman, Deadpool, Punisher, and Taskmaster? Well, you get the troubled, mentally tormented, anti-hero killing apparatus that is Bloodshot. Bloodshot is pretty much the image and front face of Valiant Comics as we know it today. So in this video, I want to break down who is Bloodshot, his powers, his origin, his various comic runs, and a brief synopsis behind each one, and offer some closing thoughts on the legacy of Bloodshot. What can you expect out of this video? If you watch this video, you will gain knowledge and power where you guys can smack down the unlearned Marvel and DC fanboys about who this character is, and you'll know a little bit about Valiant Comics over they do, and you'll be able to brag about being the original hipster. I liked and read Bloodshot before everybody else. With that being said, let's briefly go over him. Let's start with the first ever run of Bloodshot, which is 51 issues long. It's originally written and created by Bob Layton, Don Perlin, and Kevin Van Hook. So, Bloodshot, what are his powers? His powers come from nanites, these small robotic organisms installed into his bloodstream by an experimental organization called Project Rising Spirit. So what do the nanites do? They give him increased strength, speed, enhanced senses like smell, hearing, night vision, where his pupils dilate accordingly in the dark so he can see properly. They give him the ability to shapeshift his physical appearance. He can send a very loud shockwave screech. He can also talk and manipulate computers and electronics. But most important of all, he has an incredible healing factor, primarily what his power is based on. And despite his healing factor, he still experiences pain. In the later career of Bloodshot, his implants can actually talk to him through previous personas or people from his past, giving Bloodshot almost a Deadpool-like insanity factor to the character. He has the subconscious commands that can be activated through sight and sound, which shows that his main programming of being an operative will never fully be gone. The story starts by assuming Angelo Mortelli, an Italian mobster working for the Cabroni family, where he is set out on a mission to send a message, but his mob kills a rival mob member and accuses Angelo of being the murderer. It was a setup by his own mob boss since Angelo cheated on his daughter. From there, he was sent on trial for murder and ended up receiving life in prison, and as he was about to be transferred to prison, he was approached by a shady gentleman who offered him a deal of a new life and freedom if he would explain everything about the mobs that he was working with. From there, he was sent to Project Rising Spirit, which, surprise surprise, turns out to be a secret government organization who has sinister plots of experimenting on people to make them as weapons or to do their bidding. It was here where they filled his blood with nanites, downloaded his memory, and programmed the nanites in his blood to make him an effective killing machine. He lost all his memories, and now his current mission is to track down the previous mobsters and to reclaim his memories and identity. And that's what the whole comic run is all about. Gotta say, this dialogue is actually really on point. It's very pragmatic and straightforward. For example, Bloodshot gets stabbed by a ninja and is asked who he is or what he is, and he just says, yeah, I'm a big old cool dude, here's my powers, and this is what I'm all about. Just like that, straightforward, to the point, pragmatic. Now let's talk about the next Bloodshot arc in comics, which is published in 1997 as its own self-titled Bloodshot. Now the publishing history behind this comic is that it is written by Len Kaminski, and it's 16 issues long. Now the story behind this comic, it's a very short arc, which is a continuation from the first and the original Bloodshot, and this comic actually really exemplifies the 90s edge. It's very inspired by Terminator, and in this story, Bloodshot has his memory wiped again to believe that he is Raymond Garrison, a former United States colonel, and is currently trying to figure out who he is again. To make this story short, he kills the main bad guy and takes over his mantle of becoming the Big King.
Hail to the king, baby!
Now, a bit of a time skip, but the next Bloodshot comic worth going over is the 2012 run, also self-titled as Bloodshot. This comic's initial writer is Matt Kine, later taken over by Dwayne Swinzinski and Manuel Garcia, which they took over to finish the run. In this comic, they really kept the bloody spirit of the originals, and they basically put it on steroids, where the story goes like this. Bloodshot is incapacitated once again by the Project Rising Spirit, which I'll refer by as PRS from now on, where under the PRS's care, they had decided to give him artificially implanted memories to basically make him their own unstoppable hitman. This run generally deals with him breaking free of the PRS, fighting for his independence, and meeting other characters from the Valiant universe. The next Bloodshot run worth going over is the Bloodshot Reborn series. Now this run was published in 2015, where it is 18 issues long and is written by Jeff Lemire. And we will see for the next few Bloodshot comics that this guy has written a few of them preceding forth. So keep a lookout for this guy. The story goes like this. It continues from the original 2012 run, where Raymond Garrison, loses his nanite powers. From here, he tracks down other Bloodshot-esque people who have the nanites from him. He takes it upon himself to bear the responsibility of the murders that these people commit, and so he makes his mission to kill these people and take back the nanites, so that he can assume control over them because no one else can. From here, he runs into Magic, a former girlfriend of one of the nanite victims that he kills, eventually becoming his own romantic partner. In this story, in the Bloodshot Reborn series, it really establishes Bloodshot's real canon, story, and persona. From here, he goes on many different adventures, traveling to the future of 4001 AD, encountering demigods, living in alternative communist reality, and turning a good portion of the United States into other Bloodshots, and eventually challenging the biggest feat of them all, fatherhood. In the next comic line, Bloodshot Salvation, it's another comic written by Jeff Lemire that's 12 issues long. The story resumes from Bloodshot USA, where Bloodshot faces his greatest challenge in his entire career, raising a daughter. They go on quite the roller coaster with him, his daughter, and his lover on a roller coaster of an adventure that I don't really want to spoil for you guys, so I really encourage you all to read. And lastly, we have Bloodshot Rising Spirit, the latest in the Bloodshot comic line. This comic is written by Zach Thompson and Lonnie Nadler, and there are only 4 issues up to the making of this video. Since this is the latest run following up Salvation, I just want you guys to go ahead and read it for yourselves. So, to summarize and some of my closing thoughts about Bloodshot, what makes the Reborn Bloodshot interesting is that not only necessarily stating that the past runs never happened, such as 1993 as Angelo Mortelli or 1997 as Ray Garrison, rather they integrate them into all one character, where he had his mind wiped so many times that he could be any of his previous lives. What's exciting about Bloodshot is that they're making the first Valiant comic book movie adaptation on him, and Vin Diesel will be starring as Bloodshot in 2020, which Sony Entertainment will be publishing the movie, so be on the lookout for that. With that being said, I hope you guys have learned something from this video, who Bloodshot is, his history, some of his comic runs, and hopefully it encouraged you to go check out some of his comics. If not, just read the latest one, Bloodshot Rising Spirit, which is ongoing right now. It's very exciting, and I'm personally really hyped to go watch the movie when they do come out with it. Thank you all for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you guys want me to do any other video on any other topic, or this kind of video on a different character. I want to get your thoughts and feedback. Thank you so much for watching. Weird Future out.